What's up, guys? This is Aaron. It is time for college football week 9 best bets. So last week, let's see, 7-4-1, up a little over 2.5 units on the season. 54-41, up a little over 8 units. Last week on the video plays went 3-1. So either way, however you're telling, you're winning. I think we've won 6 out of 8 weeks now, so let's get started. So play number 1, we're going to take SMU minus 11. 11.5 is okay too. Both are widely available. So SMU, they beat Florida State 42-16. They beat TCU by 24, scored 66 points in that game. They beat Louisville by 7 on the road in their last game. So, this is a team that's come into the ACC and, they're already performing. Whereas Duke, not so much. They've started, I think they were 5-0 to start with before they lost to Georgia Tech. But let's take a look at the wins. They beat Elon, FCS school. They beat UConn, in a 5-point game. Let's see, they beat UNC in a game where they were down 20-0. And that was a rivalry game. They did come back and win, of course. But, the last game that they played, they beat Florida State at home by 7. That's the same team that SMU beat by 26. So, a little bit of a disparity here. I don't think that's really reflected in the numbers so much. And especially because, like last week, Duke beats Florida State for the first time in program history in, 20-some-odd tries. So I think that's kind of a celebratory thing for them. It might be a little hard to get off the mat this week to play, a much better team in SMU. If you like stats, Duke is number 2 in yards per pass on defense. But, what's the best, pass offense they played? Like UNC maybe, and after that it's like Georgia Tech or Florida State. These are terrible teams they're playing on offense. On the flip side, defense, they're number 95 in rush offense, 112th in pass offense. So on defense, I just think that SMU ought to be able to keep them, maybe not in the single digits, but, in the teens at least. And also SMU's number 5 with 2.8 yards per carry on defense. So I don't really know what Duke's going to be able to do to hang in this game. So let's take SMU minus 11.5. The second play we're going to take is the lines come down in a couple of these. So this is going to be Kentucky minus 118 on the money line. So just a win. They're off that, embarrassing loss to Florida. They also lost to Vanderbilt, who's kind of surging lately. We had Florida last week, so we kind of knew that was going to happen. Now, UK is at home against Auburn, who's a team that, they're losing. They're, what are they, 2-5 now? 0-4 in the SEC. They find ways to lose games against bad teams, even when they have leads, even double-digit leads in conference. They're finding a way to blow the lead, like the Oklahoma game. Like last week, double digits against Missouri. The quarterback's hurt from Missouri. Running back's hurt from Missouri. No problem. They lose anyway. So now, they go on the road to play Kentucky. It just seems like with Hugh Freeze, with Peyton Thorne, there's some kind of, miscommunication there between the two. I don't think they particularly like each other. Hugh Freeze seems to be all in with this, excuse that Brian Harsin just destroyed everything about the team and nothing is his fault. The way the team's playing is not his fault, even though we're past the halfway point in the season. So I just don't like that for the rest of Auburn's season outlook. Probably not going to make a bowl game. Whereas 3-4 Kentucky comes in, Mark Stoops doesn't necessarily need to win a lot of games to keep his job, but this is one of those spots where you're playing like the worst team in the conference. You got to get a win here. Spot play, UK on the money line. Game number 3, let's see, we'll take Texas A&M minus 117 on the money line. So this game's come down a little bit also. So basically, LSU has lost the last 3 at A&M. That's 6 years running by double digits on average. So this is not a spot where LSU tends to perform well. It's really hard to play in Kyle Field. That's like a top 5, top 3 maybe stadium in all of college football as far as home field advantage. I give A&M quite a bit in home field advantage here. A&M is 11-2 straight up at home in their last 13. Brian Kelly's not known to be a very good, 500 or less road coach. You can go back and look at those stats, even from his time at Notre Dame. LSU's coming off 3 straight, or this is their 3rd rivalry game in a row. They beat Ole Miss. At the very end of the game, we had LSU in that game, so we kind of figured that was going to happen. They come back at Arkansas, and we had Arkansas last week in a spot play. But of course, LSU by far the better team in that game. So I just think 3rd straight rivalry game, it's going to be kind of hard to come in and really establish. I think A&M's in a good spot here, so let's take A&M on the money line. And the last play we'll do, let's go with Mississippi State plus 7.5. 7s and 7.5s are out there currently. So let's see, Arkansas 5-15 on the road under Sam Pittman. Not a good road team. Mississippi State, I won't say they're surging, but they're at least playing, much better than they did at the beginning of the season. Blake Shapen gets hurt at quarterback, so now they've gone to Van Buren, the backup. He's playing pretty well. I think a lot of teams are underestimating Mississippi State because, they're kind of on the bottom right now. They were getting beat pretty bad at the beginning of the year, but they come back. They covered against Georgia. They covered against Texas. They didn't really perform very well, but they did just enough to cover. And I think here at home, this is like the one spot that they really have left where they're like, okay, we can get, an SEC win here if we play to our best. Arkansas not playing particularly well right now. I don't think that Taylor Green is 100%. Not that anybody is at this point, but his legs are like a big part of what was supposed to make Arkansas go this season. And he's getting like negative rush yards in games lately. So it's pretty much like all pass right now for them as far as the quarterback goes. So just sort of on a spot play, we're going to take Mississippi State plus 7.5. And then in their last, I think, 3 SEC games, they've forced 6 turnovers. So really they're just doing anything and everything they can to fight and stay in games. So let's take Mississippi State. All right, guys, let's cash. Also on Boise State tonight, got that at 2.5. I think it's like 3.5 going up to 4 now. So if you didn't get a Discord or Twitter, try to find a live line if you can. But I do like Boise tonight.